as a veteran small business owner, what can we do for you?
What we can all do for all veteran business owners is promote each other.
My main mission was to look at tools of technology to leverage small business and give them more of a competitive advantage.
My mission for Veteran Bargains is very simple: to help vets.
That story in itself, to run for Vista City Council, is a journey.
I think this is an opportunity to really collaborate with those gone before us.
It's really kind of a labor of love.
And now your host.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us once again for this Veterans Radio Show and podcast. I'm your host, Laura Torres. Welcome back to this Veteran Radio Show, and it's here to support and highlight veterans in our community. I hope that you're having a phenomenal day, and thank you so much for tuning in. Our Veterans Radio Show, it brings you the heroes in action who are making it happen from our community. So please make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that we can continue to bring you segments and those heroes who are making it happen behind the scene. We welcome your comments in our audience on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Amazon Live, as well as our podcast listeners. We appreciate your service, your comments, and your questions. So please post them here. Today, we want to make sure that we also acknowledge great work that our community is doing, all of it behind the scenes, our producer and our guests. So thank you so much for being here. This segment is sponsored to you thanks to the general support of Blue Star Families. Is a sponsor for today, our Racial Inequality Initiative. So thank you so much for supporting and for being it. And we encourage you to please participate and make sure that you are taking and participating in the survey. More details a little bit later on in the segment. But for now, I want to tell you all about our guest. She is no stranger to the chamber. She has been part of our chamber as an active volunteer, as an active member of our team as well. But also she has her own own little trajectory in the business world. Dali Rivera, a U.S. Army veteran and experienced chief executive officer with a demonstrated history in the professional training and coaching industry. She's skilled in diversity and anti-bullying coaching. She is the creator of DaliTalks, DaliTalks.com, and we're very excited she's back here at our show. She's been a little bit sort of in the absent world for a little bit, only because she has been relocating across the U.S., transitioning after transition. So I'm very excited to ask her a little bit more about what that has looked like on her end, to share her expertise and know more about all the great work that she's been doing. So without further ado, let's bring Dali Rivera and let's get to know her a little bit better and what she has been doing behind the scenes. Dali?
Have you been doubting your parenting skills? Do you feel like no matter what you do, you just don't seem to get through to your child? I can't tell you how many parents I've talked to that feel like they're alone in the struggles with their kids. They feel like they are failing at this parenting thing and they're very embarrassed to even ask for help. But the thing is that you're not alone. How do I know? Because I speak with parents all the time and they all tell me the same thing. They're all doubting their parenting skills and they ask things like, is this supposed to happen? Am I the only one going through this? Oh my gosh, I am so embarrassed that I can't even ask for help. Some of the questions they ask are kids supposed to be moody or is it just my kids? I must be doing something wrong. Am I paranoid or is my child really anxious or depressed? I can't even tell. I feel like all I do is yell and yell and yell and I don't get through to my kids. How do I change this? It's tough because you're trying to be a parent and kids are trying to be kids and then life throws challenges at you. So things get a lot more difficult. After having coached parents, I hear things like, I thought I was all alone. It feels so good to know that there are others just like me. I thought I was doing it all wrong and come to find out I'm not the only one. I'm so happy I found you. If my parents would have gotten the help that you provide, I would have had a completely different relationship with my parents. I'm so happy that I found you. Had I found you earlier when I was raising my older child, parenting would have been so much easier. You see, the thing is that knowing that you're not alone and realizing that the struggles that you're experiencing are common makes it easier for you to reach out and ask for help. It also helps you not feel shame for having to ask for help. And all of that is very normal and is part of parenting. It's empowering to learn new strategies and tools and to have people that you can trust in your corner so that you can get the help that you need when you need it. That's why I've teamed up with my friend Naomi Nai, who is a teen life coach, to offer you our 4-part group parenting coaching.
We know that you want the best for your family and that you want to create opportunities not just for you, but for your family and generations down the line. That is why we have put this course together to help you and your family develop the skills and develop that bond, that closeness that you need so you can face your challenges in life. So press the link below. We look forward to seeing you there.
Well, hello, Dali.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Sorry, I was checking us out over here on LinkedIn, making sure that we were all on air and all ready to go. So welcome back. I'm so excited to finally catch up with you and see how you've been doing.
It feels great. It feels like coming home, So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And so, yes, you're right. Thank you for you're back home. Is it around this time? If I go back into the timeline, which I didn't, I think it's been a year you and I met, or maybe a little bit less than that, a little bit over that. We met and we did your first segment. And of course, since then, I think you and I can agree that we have grown so much. This segment, this radio show and podcast has grown tremendously. We have become a little more efficient and fancier since we first launched, but also you yourself have grown tremendously in your business and DaliTalks.
Yeah, definitely. I love that I have been able to see this show grow, and I know that most of it is you and Jimmy and Michael, Joe. I mean, I'm just a little, throwing a little bit of, energy and effort in there, but you all are amazing, and I love that you're always helping our community. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Now, so tell us, for those who might be watching this for the very first time and getting an introduction of you and your great work, tell us a little bit about your military experience and how you're tied in, but also, just anything that you feel comfortable sharing your journey as a U.S. Army veteran.
Yeah, so I served approximately 10 years in the Army. I was a mechanic, so it has nothing to do with what I do now. And I knew about the second year in that I didn't want to be a mechanic for the rest of my life. So while I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, what I noticed was that I was really good with helping people and sharing the knowledge that I gained. I thrive with just learning things. If I'm not washing dishes and listening to a podcast that's teaching me about something, then I feel like I'm wasting my time. So naturally, years later, I ended up, after I get out, I ended up creating a business, which is what I do now. And I love what I do. I'm a parent coach, and I specifically coach parents on teaching kids about bullying awareness, because there's so much of that, and it happens in the adult sector, of course, with the children. But yeah, the military taught me a lot. It taught me how to stand in my own power, and that's really important, because when you come out of high school, you go out into the world, you're thrust in there with all these people with all different types of mentality from different countries, sometimes in different dialects and just different culture. You learn so much. And then it kind of, I mean, people always say you live in your own bubble, but when you're experiencing that, you truly get to understand, oh, I was living in my own bubble. So that whole experience, I would do it all over again because the military really taught me structure. It taught me how to be open minded. It taught me to be more understanding. And also, when you have serious self doubt, which is something that I had when I went in, I mean, I did the delayed entry program at 17. So when I went in, I was 18 and I thought I was not disciplined enough to do certain things or not good enough because you're still trying to
Right.
become that person that's sure of themselves. And now looking back, I think our military is so freaking incredible because the majority or the average service member is in their early 20s. They're like 24. And when you think about the responsibilities that we are given at such a young age, it is just incredible because these kids, because I call them kids because you're in your 20s, they're responsible for literally the safety of this country. They're responsible for firing missiles and making sure that people deploy in a safe way, that they're prepared. And then I used to underestimate what I did. I was a mechanic, so I was like, that's nothing. I'm not out there in the front like with the scouts and the rangers and da 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 da. But looking back now, I realized, wow, what I did was so significant. Yeah, I was a mechanic. I was making sure that all the vehicles were maintained, that they ran well. And specifically, I think what opened my eyes to the importance of what I did was when 9/11 happened. I knew then that my skill set was going to be something so important that could determine whether somebody was going to live or not because of how well I did my job, how fast they could get out of there in that vehicle, right? How fast could we recover those vehicles from the war zones or places of conflict. So if anybody's watching and you are feeling like, okay, I was in the military, but I was just a pencil pusher, or I was just this, or just I was just that, think about that. Reflect on your job, no matter how unimportant it seemed to you, it affects so many other people. And that allowed me, I think that probably is what made me realize, oh, I do have some value to give. Although yeah, I was a mechanic back then, but I learned how to work with other people, how to help other people, and how to transfer the knowledge that I had onto other people in a very effective way. So that's my long answer to your question.
No, I love it because you share so many great key components here, and things to think about. Because as you mentioned, everyone has a key place in that behind the scenes, in the front lines, on the sideways, or just your personality, their personality, everyone's personality has a place in a component of a project. And in your case, I never thought about that. You're right. All those young men, young women who have joined the military, who are maybe today in boot camp as they pursue their military career, are going to be, essential in one point or another into launching or executing, like you said, the safety of our service members, the safety of our nation. And that's something, you don't think about that at that moment when you are just going through the process. You just want to get on with the action, perhaps, or just get on with the tune. So that's a really good point to think about it now. And given that you have been discovering, you retired, you get out of the military, and then you went on to transition and find yourself. Now we know you, of course. We know what your trajectory has been like, but you had this really unique way of leveraging your skills, your enthusiasm, your passion, but also like personal life experiences to create DaliTalks. Tell us about DaliTalks and what those are.
Oh man, DaliTalks it really comes from a personal standpoint because I arrived to the United States at the age of 7, and when you come to a new country, you don't know the history of that country or the relations among people. So when I was being called slur names, and things like that, and I was being bullied, I didn't understand why, and that shapes you over time. When you're going through it, you don't understand how it's going to affect you, or you think you're just going to brush it off and move on. But now in hindsight, looking back, I realized how much the way that I was bullied or treated when I was younger affected my self-esteem. So it's a
Yeah.
miracle to think back that I even joined the military, because I feel like you have to have a certain level of confidence to say, I'm going to go into the army. It's like where it's such a tough environment that you're not used to, people yelling at you and doing all sorts of stuff. And on top of that, I said, I'm going to be a mechanic because I want to do something different. I don't want to do this same old thing that all girls do. I want to do something totally adventurous and risky and different. So,
Wow.
yeah. And I think that that came from probably like being tired of being put down. I didn't know it back then. And then, of course, years go by and you go into the workforce, you experience bullying in the workforce like at any other job, because I think everybody has either seen it or experienced it. And so then I became a parent, and my baby was bullied when she started kindergarten. And that was when I was like, you know what, we need to solve this problem. I know you can't solve, like, eradicate it completely, because people are people. So I started advocating for my daughter. It became very difficult because of red tape and policies and stuff. By then I had already gone through college. I went through a master's program, which was a key skill that I learned, like, to do research.
Right.
So and ironically, my master's is in women and gender studies with a concentration in social policy and leadership. So that social policy part that I learned in college on how to read about policies, are they working for you, are they not working for you, should we scrap it or should we just change some things in it, that helped me do the research about bullying. So I'm looking at these policies and stuff, and I'm realizing, okay, here is where the problem is. Number one, parents are clueless about these policies. Although they send this document every first day of or every first week of school, they send these forms with the kids and they say, please read this and sign it. And part of it, it's like this fine print that nobody wants to read, right?
Yeah.
Although, so I read it and then I start sharing this information with people. And then I start sharing my story about how when I went to get help for my daughter, it was not given to me because of X, Y, and Z. And so I had to find the solutions. And because of that frustration, I started sharing this information with parents. And they were like, oh, I didn't know that. And you know what? What parent's going to sit here and say, okay, I'm having a baby, I need to educate myself about bullying? Like, nobody
Yeah.
does that, right?
Nobody does that. No, you don't
Yeah.
plan. You're just interested in getting, especially after the baby comes, and just getting some extra sleep.
Right, exactly, right? You're like excited. All you think is all the beautiful things that come with babies. And the worst thing that you think is, okay, I'm gonna lose some sleep. I'm going to have to change poopy diapers. I'm going to have to teach them all these things, but you don't think I'm going to have to advocate for my child, because we don't expect bad things to happen to them. I mean, we know they're going to go through stuff, but you think maybe later when they're teenagers. So I decided to create the Diversity and Anti-Bullying Academy. And what that is really just a lot of mini courses for parents and for teachers to learn how and what to teach children about bullying awareness. So, from the basics of what is bullying really, because that is such a big misconception. People confuse it for kids just being mean or for kids just teasing, but it's way more than that. When we live in a world where now the youngest person to have committed suicide due to bullying is 8, that means we really need a solution. When we
Yes.
have, 30% of bullying incidents are reported, so that means 70% of kids are living, uh, you know, they're being internally like tortured. They're living with this in pain, and most of them never tell an adult. You have cyberbullying where 50% of teens admit that they have been targeted, and 1 of 10 parents are aware that their child was targeted online. And still, parents, they don't know how to keep their kids safe. They don't know about monitoring tools that can alert them about certain behaviors online. They don't know about their legal rights, and they don't know that they have other options if their children have been attacked outside of school. So I mean, there's so much that I teach, and I'm really passionate. And I get really excited when parents come to me and they're like, "Okay, I want to learn," because those
Yeah.
parents are helping my child stay safe and their own kids as well as others. So that's how
Yeah.
DaliTalks came about.
Well, that's exciting, and then thank you for sharing, all this great work behind the scenes. And I encourage our audience to really reach out to you and reach out. And I don't think there is any specific age group or when your kids are a specific, just young. I think at all ages, we can all learn a thing of doing about parenting, and even maybe our kids might be older now, but we can definitely all, I think, take a pause and relearn new practices and re-engage better in better communication. I think even with our grown kids, like in my case, we have the two older ones, we have the two younger ones, 10 years difference between the two groups and of kids, and it's a better way of communication that we can definitely take that new approach. So thank you, Dali, for all of that. I'm going to take a quick moment here to recap and also to inform our audience to please post your comments, post your questions. We would love to be able to highlight those towards the end and then ask Dali more questions as well from our audience. Make sure that you're listening. And of course, I also want to acknowledge our sponsor for today, which is Blue Star Families. If you are not aware yet, Blue Star Families has launched this year, Racial and Equity Initiative, which looks to bring in more highlight to the differences and the service that it needs to go for families of diversity colors. So I would like to encourage you all to visit the link so that you can also participate in the survey. If you are a diverse Hispanic or a community of color, just should take the survey. Tell us about your military experience and what that looks like for you. We would love to be able to share your personal experience and be able to also understand how this personal experience has affected your family in the military. And so go to the link, take the survey, share with 5 of your friends, because that's how we're going to replicate the good wealth of advocacy. And the more we do and the more of us who take it and share your experience, then the better we'll be able to understand what are those issues that might be in the military, and we be able to address some of those changes. So anyway, thank you, Dali, for that. Now, what's next for you as we get close to wrap it up? What can we see Dali next? What's coming up with DaliTalks, or you yourself as well?
Yeah, well, I've settled into Maryland. I was living in California, and that was, let me tell you, that was a rough move. Moving a family and 3 dogs and a house of 5 bedrooms into a house of 4. And I mean, it was crazy, but it was a really cool learning experience. And now that I'm settled in, now I have like my studio set up again and everything. I have decided to focus more on coaching parents. So I linked up with a friend of mine, as you saw in the video at the intro, Naomi and I, who's a teen life coach. Her and I are offering a 4-week parenting coaching. And we want to focus on helping parents communicate better with their children. We want to help parents know how to respond to negative behavior or challenging behavior. And we also want to encourage parents to do a lot of self-care, because what you do is what your children are going to do. If you tell them, let go and make sure you take care of yourself, take a bubble bath, take some time to read, but then they see you not doing it, they're not going to do it, because they're emulating everything that their parents do. So I'm focusing more on working one-on-one and in groups with parents by coaching them. And yeah, they can go to the link and register. And if they have any questions, they can also email me at dali@dalitalks.com.
Perfect. So that's how we can get a hold of you at Dali at DaliTalks.com, as well as breaking news here, everyone. Breaking news. Dali has also agreed to co-host this segment also, either once a month or from time to time as a busy schedule allows her to, of course. But so we're very grateful for the time that she's able to contribute to this segment. So you'll see more of Dali here and supporting also veterans who have very unique businesses, unique stories, and bring it up to a spotlight, but also with her very, very amazing, sparkly, enthusiasm, be able to conduct as a host here the segments and support our veteran community. So Dali, thank you so much for that. I wish we had like a drum or a behind the scenes. That's something we got to work on, producer. Have like a clap behind sound effects so that we can be able to cheer for that when we have an incredible announcement to do. So that's Dali in the next. So be on the lookout when she is co-hosting, because that is going to be such a great thing for our for our show, but also for our community to be able to have different perspectives and amazing characteristics and enthusiasm, personalities highlight our veteran community.
I'm excited, a little bit nervous because you and Shelly do such an amazing job, and that's why I was putting it off for a long time. But hopefully, all will go well, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, you'll be wonderful. You'll be great, and we're very excited to be able to co-share this space with you, and to have this, and for us to be able to support behind the scenes as well. So thank you so much. So anything else, Dali, as we wrap it up? Do we have? Let me see. We do have some members watching on LinkedIn, and we also have on some of the other platforms. So Jared Smith, thank you for supporting. Richard Moore as well. Thank you guys for supporting as well. Connect with Dali.
Yeah, I do have another ask if you're all tuned in right now.
Sure.
If you know of a business that needs a coach like me to come in and educate your parents, share my information or send me their information. I'll reach out, because my aim is to help as many people as I can to create just a more unified community. Bullying happens in all ways, and it happens at work, it happens with kids, it happens at church, it happens within your family. So if you need somebody to educate and bring that awareness to these parents, just contact me.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great, definitely way to end our segment, and to definitely do a call of action. If you know anyone, who could benefit, and we can all benefit, of course, it's not just for any specific group of our population, is for everyone, so that we can all thrive and collaborate and live better as a community, because your kids eventually will have their kids and their kids, and we got to trigger good vibes and good practices for long future generations to come. So I think DaliTalks is definitely the site for you to go and explore this weekend and connect definitely with Dali. And then of course support here live on future segments, because she's going to be our co-host here for the Veterans Radio Show. And so very excited for that. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So once again, thank you so much. Make sure that you post your comments, and we look forward to seeing you again next Friday with another segment. Thank you so much for watching, for tuning in. Be sure that you subscribe so that we can continue to bring you great segments for you, veterans from our community who are making it happen. Thank you for watching.